Whoop, whoop, whoop. Here we are. Hope some folks are tuning in. I always like to wait a couple minutes to see if some folks show up. How are you doing today?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Good. It's beautiful in San Diego right now. Can't complain.
It's sunny here, but it's cold, and it snowed again last night, so that's fun.
I just want to check and make sure audio and everything is good. You froze there for a second. Turn off your phone and stuff too. There we go. All right, we got someone showing up here. Okay. All right, Louisa, is our sound good? Connection's good?
All good.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, let's get to it. All right. So, hey, everyone, welcome back to the We Love Deck Builders podcast for deck builders who want to grow, scale, and build a business that lasts. I'm your host, April Edwards from Deck Builder Marketers. And today we've got a special guest who's doing some pretty amazing work in the world of outdoor living. And I am personally very excited to share his story with you guys. He's just got a little bit going on, right? Just a little bit, right, Tyler? Just a little bit on your plate. So Tyler Anders is the owner of Hometown Builders Unlimited out of Wisconsin, and he's joining us to talk about how he built a deck building brand that people trust and how he approaches custom deck projects that wow his clients, and what it takes to grow a solid team while staying true to your roots. A little bit more about him. His company focuses on high-end decks, and he's built a reputation for being transparent, honest, and delivering great work. Today, we're going to dive into his journey and what he's learned along the way and the advice he has for other deck builders looking to grow. So if you've been thinking about what it really takes to grow a respected deck building business, or if you're struggling to find that balance between high quality work and scaling your team, you're going to want to stick around. So let's jump in. Tyler, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So for folks that don't know you, can you share a little bit about your background and what got you started in deck building?
Yeah. Honestly, growing up, there wasn't a ton of background in construction. From day one, I pretty much wanted to be in public safety, and that's kind of what I grew up in. That's what my family did. It's what my family still does. And so I joined the fire service right out of high school, and have been a career firefighter since 2013. And just been thriving at that. And then as many firefighters in this world, we work a lot, but we cram it all into pretty much 2 days a week. So, having 5 days off a week, it's, you get to a point in life where you want to do something with your time. I pretty much kind of just started as kind of life continued from adolescent years, the whole construction world entertained me. Learned a lot in high school and all that kind of stuff, and tried just starting a little side business to pass some time, make some extra money on days off from the firehouse. And fast forward 6 years, I would go on a limb and say, we're one of the top deck builders in the state of Wisconsin. We've gone from, I found a niche, kind of being a handyman sort of company in the beginning. You figure out what you like, and being outside and enjoying the outside and kind of creating some masterpieces that everyone gets to see, meaning, the neighbors see it, the neighbors become envious, then they want to build that project too. And versus, you do something inside a house that's awesome, but it's a private addition at that point. So we kind of began to focus on decks, and we have an amazing supplier. Zern Building Products is our supplier, and our inside sales rep there, Billy Culp, has been a huge asset to my company growth. He's gotten me a lot of work that helped us dive into this niche. Got us a contract with a home builder to build all their decks and kind of build that foundation of, becoming good at what we do. And from there, other people recognize our work, and things kind of just took off. And, now we do decks religiously. That's all we do. That's all we focus on. Covered patios, screen rooms. And it's where we're at today.
So a love for being outside, probably breaking things up. You've been spending doing more with your time, which to me is incredible. It's like you already have a full-time job and you start another one in a business. Yeah. It's pretty impressive. And so you started off doing kind of handyman work and realizing that you really had a love for the outdoor living spaces, and it kind of naturally evolved because, people saw your work and they wanted to be a part of it. Kind of FOMO, right?
Yeah. 100%.
So,
100%.
You're in scale mode right now too, right? Would you say more so than ever? Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris is here.
We went from number one deck builder in Milwaukee. Yeah. It went from just being me and to today, we've got 9 employees. We've got 9 employees plus, subcontractor production crews. We typically have 2 to 3 projects going on at a time. We're hiring project manager right now, dedicated salesperson, to help that scale continue. There's only so much one person can do to grow a company, and now we're at a point where we needed the office staff to maintain that growth, while I can continue to focus on building the strength of our brand and figuring out other avenues and ways to keep our brand strong is kind of what it is. We'll get to a maintenance point at some point, but right now we're in a growth position, and we gotta get on the legacy deck scale here. So
good segue. So Chris has joined in. He says, quite the side hustle. And to me, this should be the name of the podcast. There's quite the side hustle. It's so impressive. And you have 2 kids too, right?
Sure do. 2 and 11 months.
Just a little bit on your plate. Just a little bit. Like I said, just a little bit. Do you think there was a point in your company's evolution where you kind of hit the ceiling and we're dealing with a lot more issues where, you kind of had to take some steps back before you went forward?
Yes and no. I've always I'm kind of a person that I can take a lot and deal with a lot. And so did there become a point where there was a tremendous amount of weight on my shoulders? 100%. But we have relationships with people, other customers, DBM, Legacy Academy, that are guiding us in the direction to where I don't need to wear all the hats I wear. And for me, it took someone to show me that it's doable and possible, and companies can thrive without the owner being in the field. And
Right.
so yeah, it was about a year and a half ago. I stepped out of the field pretty much 100%, and began truly focusing on somewhat growth. Part of that came when we signed on with you guys. When we signed on with you guys, we didn't really have a Google presence prior to that. So at that point, we were kind of just relying on word of mouth and our contracts with home builders, which was good enough for us. We were getting by just fine, and we were a profitable company, but we weren't at the point where I wanted the business. I don't want to be, building builder decks every day. The referrals that we were getting they're great referrals. We were building, decks that we love building, but they weren't wow, eye-catching projects. And in order for customers to find trust in a construction company in today's world, there needs to be a Google presence. They need to see reviews. They need to see other customers' testimonies on using a company. And so we signed on with you guys. At that point, when someone's like, "Oh, give us $600 a month and we'll make your company better," it's, at that point I'm like, that's a lot of money. Like, what are you going to do with all that? And then, being a business owner is all about taking risks, and you have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions to grow, and that's what we did. We signed on with you guys, and we got our kick-ass website. We started building a Google presence, and I'm pretty sure the year we jumped over to you guys, I think earlier in the year, in 2023. And so we pretty much had an entire year with you guys, and I'm pretty sure our revenue that year alone jumped over $1 million. And so that in itself was an absolute eye opener, and that's what pushed me to realize I need to hire more production crews or more production staff, and I need to step out of the field because I can't manage everything. And so I've kind of lived the last year and a half selling jobs, being a project manager, doing office work, all that kind of stuff. And it took another leap of faith to have a deep conversation with Chris Breen and the Legacy Academy, and, have him kind of tell me that, you're crazy for what you're doing. And that, he could help me. And that was, yeah, I'm not going to talk about what I spend to be with them, but it's, it's a significant investment in your company, and even just being with them for it's been 2 months. I feel much more comfortable about my company. I feel more comfortable about continuing to grow my company. And when you have not only two people like Chris and Amy, but an entire catalog of other deck builders that are a part of that group to bounce ideas off of and learn from, and people share mistakes and failures, and you learn from their failures versus having to do it yourself. It's a huge step, and it's something that has allowed us to see further growth in our company. And that's why, we're hiring the positions we are, so that, I don't have to wear all those hats anymore, and other people can thrive in those positions, and we can focus on what's next in our business versus maintaining where we're at. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I'm still a firefighter. I don't ever plan on stopping that. The fire service is my absolute passion, and it's just, having a successful company outside of it is just a benefit. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, amazing. So it's so funny. I kind of chuckled there for a second because I was just talking to my integrator a couple hours ago, and I was like, the team needs to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's what it's about when you're growing, and reaching a different milestone where you have different problems and you have to face those. So Chris Breen is listening in, by the way. He said, #1 deck builder in Milwaukee and quite the side hustle. I did put up legacyacademy.com, legacydecksacademy.com. Hold on, I'm trying to get it up here. So check them out. Hold on, I don't know why it's not showing. But Legacy Academy, legacydecksacademy.com. There we go. So you can check out their website, but they do amazing coaching. They have an awesome community. And then Ian Reddick here said he felt the same way, totally worth it. Chris says, a smart man pays to learn from others' mistakes. An idiot doesn't even learn from his own. That's awesome. It's good. It's good. It's good. Keep bringing the gold, Chris. You got it. So, I mean, how is that? Like, where do you think so much about business's mindset, right? So where's Tyler's mindset now this far along compared to where you started?
I see light at the end of the tunnel. When you're buried in work in it, it's I had interviews all day today for some of the positions we're hiring in, and we for our project manager position, we had a guy that is a rock solid candidate for it, and he owns his own deck building company right now. He's obviously a much smaller scale, but he said, he kind of explained, he's like, I work 13 to 14 hours a day. He's like, I'm out there building decks. I come home, I'm doing estimates, writing proposals, filing permits, whatever it may be, responding to emails. He's like, I don't have the drive to push myself to build this company bigger or to hire anyone. He's like, I just want to be with a successful company that is going to allow me to do what I love and teach others my passion. And so there's a lot of weight on a business owner's shoulders when they're doing when they're doing everything. And it's taken basically force from other people to say, dude, you gotta stop this. You gotta get other people underneath you. You gotta relinquish control. There's people that specialize in the certain things that you're doing that are going to do a better job than what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And which is totally true. Would I be great at just doing a project manager at my company? Sure, I would be phenomenal at it. But I wouldn't be able to focus on what else is next. I wouldn't be able to focus on that. Am I a great salesman? Absolutely not. I've just figured it out, and getting someone in here that can focus on that on a day-to-day basis and push products of where we want to be and where we want to go is I think it's going to be something that puts us at, a scale that I could never even imagine being at. And so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I see there's a lot of weight being lifted off my shoulders. I've got phenomenal production crews that I don't have to babysit anyone. We just started using Company Cam. I feel like this is literally just talking about other products that make life easier, which really it is. There's a reason that all these things exist, and it's literally, they're all there to make lives easier. So jumping to Company Cam, I used to have to call 3 deck crews at the end of the day to figure out what got done, make sure they send me pictures, and now all I got to do is look on an app for 2 minutes, see pictures of what got done, see if there's any issues, and that's it. Everything's done. So it's spending the money on what's worth making your life easier become something that I stand by. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing what's next. Even with Legacy Academy, I mean, we are absolutely brand new at that. And so we're still in the baby step stages of it. And so once we get, once we get kind of our feet settled on the ground, I think everything with Chris and Amy is just going to make our company take off even more. And they don't only support me. Chris and Amy are gracious enough to basically allow us contact with all of their employees. People that specialize in certain things. Yes, Chris is great at sales. Yes, Amy is great at administrative work, but there's their salespeople that I can bounce ideas off of. Like the salesperson that I interviewed today, Nick Stevens from Legacy Decks is cold calling him at 4:45 to do kind of a final vet and do a final kind of quick little interview with them. And I'm not going to call my neighboring debt company to see if they'll do that. Like it's something that, it's just a benefit. They've got a 6-week sales program coming up for our salespeople. Like there's just so many benefits to it, and it just makes my life easier.
Yeah, I would say working smarter, not harder, right? And the biggest difference, I think, with what I'm seeing is you are a business investor, and I think that a lot of, right, like you've moved to that position as opposed to have created a job for yourself.
We're putting a lot of money back into the company at this point, and we always have, but never to this scale.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's needed for growth, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not gonna grow to this level with, just buying new tools and that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure it's one of the first things that, Chris went over with you is really what is the vision? If you've got that vision, it'll feed everything else, and so without it, you're going to be arrested development,
Yeah. Vision, coming up with core values for your company that you base your hiring off of, if you've got, and it's kind of crazy. We had in my kickoff with Chris and Amy, when we were there in South Carolina, developing kind of these values for our own company. Once we created them and we wrote them down and they were kind of in stone at that point, Chris and Amy are like, sweet, how many people that work for your company don't meet these? And it's like, so we had 2 actually that literally met none of them. And at that point I realized they were literally just filling positions. And the first thing I did when I got back to Wisconsin was I sat both of them down, figured out where are we going? And we actually separated ways from both of them. Using then, what we developed as our core values and kind of utilizing the vision of our company and where we want to be, we replaced those 2 with 4 additional production guys that are absolutely kicking ass. And our production is up. The happiness on job sites is up. Guys are enjoying themselves more. They're having more fun. There's no one on the job site bringing people down with, negativity and, and especially now, we're in southeastern Wisconsin. I mean, we were 70 degrees last week and it's snowing. It snowed all night last night. So, I mean, the guys were, even yesterday, I think it was 54, 56 degrees and it snowed all night and it turned to ice. And so the guys are just working in ice today. So there's a lot of stresses, external stresses that can cause frustrations for the guys on job sites. And it's up to the mentality and the personality of the people we have to make the days better. And when we have crews that are like that, it makes everything runs seamlessly.
Yeah, I just want to reinforce that because I've been through that before where, when you have a team member that doesn't align with the culture, which is set from your core values, it's toxic for everyone, and you don't realize it. And so it's so nice to have structure, especially as a business owner, because it kind of takes weight off of you, right? It's like now things don't have to be subjective. It's like based off of the core values and it's based off of this, and I love going through that process myself, and creating the core values with the team. It really brought everybody together. And that's so important as a service-based business. So it's so good to hear that. What an amazing year you have ahead. So Chris says, hell yes, role play for the interview recess. Where'd you come up with that? Well, let's talk about the business a little bit. I'm interested to know what you think, like, how is Hometown Builders different? Like, what do you think are the top 2 to 3 things that have helped you earn such a good reputation?
In a humble way, I want to say me, and I think part of that is I am a very empathetic and passionate person. So when I show up to estimates, I'm not a salesperson, and that's kind of where, when I say am I good at sales, it's the fact that I show up and I'm empathetic to customers and I'm passionate about what we do and the products we sell. And so I make people feel comfortable right off the bat. I jive with them. I'm able to find ways to connect with them immediately and build that sense of trust from within the first few minutes of me showing up from an appointment. And sometimes that even happens on our first initial phone call. And showing up to an appointment where, that customer already feels comfortable with you just makes everything flow smoother. And anyone could say that's the whole, that's what a salesperson is. And you're right. But when it comes to, setting a proposal out and then trying to upsell for, whether it's, alternative framing or, creating a dry space underneath the deck or whatever, like, unless the customer like mentions that, I'm not there to push that on them. It's, so could we be upselling our projects more? Hell yeah. But I'm not a pushy person. And it's something that not necessarily is a downfall, but it affects our sales limitations in a sense, I guess. But when we can have someone show up on site that is, talking about all this stuff right off the bat, it introduces it into the customer's head, and maybe not in a pushy way, but, in a smart salesperson way. And so that's just never been a tactic or something that I've been good at. So I think just that, and then, being from the point of contact, from the initial, phone call to the estimate to, being there as the project manager to, at the end of the project, closing the project out with them and walking them through step by step, everything. I think we've built a lot of really solid relationships with customers. We still do thrive off of word of mouth. I mean, we have neighborhoods where we have built 3/4 of the decks in the neighborhood. And part of it is because, we built a deck. Those customers were ecstatic with us. They told their neighbors, they told their neighbors, they told their neighbors. And sometimes a lot of times it doesn't come down to price. It comes down to, hey, there's 6 people in my neighborhood that are ecstatic about using this contractor. Like, we just want to use them. We're not going with anyone else. That doesn't happen all the time, but we have a cul-de-sac right now where we've built 4 out of the 5 decks in the cul-de-sac. And
Hmm.
it's kind of that same thing. And we're actually working with the 6th house that's now just finished being built in that cul-de-sac to get them signed on into contract status here. So, it's just, again, it's just, I just thrive off of relating with people. And part of that is in our core values. And that's what I'm looking for in everyone that I hire too, especially in an administrative role, whether it's project management, sales, office manager. It's those people skills are an absolute necessity, because that's what's going to keep our reputation where it needs to be. Yeah. And I mean, we thrive. We tried advertising at the beginning of the year. I had no idea what I was doing with it. I don't think it worked. I don't think I had it set up right. But we have almost 50 plus, 5-star ratings on Google, and that's a huge benefit to us. That, especially when the testimonials or the reviews, when those customers are name dropping me or other people, part of our production crew, whatever it may be. And then, someone sees that, they're reading our reviews, and then they call to set up an appointment. And I say, Hometown Builders, this is Tyler. And they're like, oh, I just read about you in this review. You seem like an awesome person. That builds trust before they even contacted me.
Yep.
So it's there's a lot of things that happen just kind of naturally, and that's kind of what we thrive on. But it's not something that's 100% sustainable. So that's kind of where one of the reasons why, we're at the growth and the scaling that we're at right now.
Mm-hmm. So Cassandra said, treat them like extended family. And just to recap for anybody that's just joining, I mean, Tyler just gave such a great insight in what makes him different and his business different. And just to kind of make sure that I'm saying it right. It's really about creating a great experience even before they contact you. So through your reviews, through what they see of you, and then being consistent throughout that process. And being, I mean, I would say, Chris says, you are a consultant and act like a trusted advisor, not a salesman. And yeah, I would say you're not a salesman, you're just being helpful, right? And people can tell the difference, and that's that like emotional connection that you're making in the beginning. And it's so important.
Yeah. And one of our things that we're getting away from the typical job descriptions, not job descriptions, job names. So like we're not calling our salespeople, salesmen, saleswomen. Their job title is going to be debt consultant. And so when I feel like, when someone sees sales in someone's name, they think they're going to be put under pressure and all that kind of stuff. And we don't want any even forethoughts of, putting a thought into a customer's mind that, a salesperson is coming over. No, a debt consultant's coming over to help, exactly what Chris said, to help guide them to making the right decision. So, and then even, project manager, but, we stole this one from Legacy. Like our office manager is going to be titled the director of first impressions. Because that's, I mean, they're tasked with so much more than just being an office manager. They're the first face that anyone sees that walks in the door. They're the first voice anyone hears when they call. We want people to know that person is there to make their first impression a positive one, and not make them feel like they're in a managerial position by any means. So it's all about, really, there's a lot of things that are such small differences, but can make such larger impacts in the larger scheme of things. So,
Well, my takeaway is you're making your own rules, guys, for what he just said. That's so brilliant and so creative, and even just seeing that title, director of first impression, shows that you care enough to even think to do that. It's pretty impressive. I love it. So what about I want to try and leverage your, just like in Legacy Academy with being in the community and learning from others, I want the audience to try and learn from you too. So what advice would you give builders who are struggling to find good clients and end up, working with people that don't respect their time or pricing? You have any words of wisdom?
Be selective. Know that better clients are out there. And I think, and one thing that we've dealt with in the past is, especially when we were trying to start our initial growth period, was we've always pre-qualified clients over the phone, but if everything aligned as far as like, yeah, we know they're going to be able to afford our pricing, we would schedule an appointment, go out there, measure stuff up, get a game plan figured out, send them a proposal, and sign a contract. And even if there was red flags within the process, it was more of a, hey, we need the work, let's just sign the contract. Hindsight, what happened was we got to a point end of 2023 going into 2024, we were like 7 months booked out. I mean, like last year we did over 100 decks last year, and we got to a point where we were like 7 months booked out. And what was happening was we were selling high quality projects, but we weren't vetting the customers in a way of, are they a good fit for us? It was more of a, hey, they can afford our stuff. They want to use us. Let's sign a contract. And what happened was we got so far booked out that when the customers that, we always had great conversations with customers, but we'd have a pre-qualification conversation with a customer, and it's like, holy crap, this customer is amazing. Like, they have so much ambition for their project. And then we talk about timelines, and then they're like, no, we're going to go with the next guy. You're too far out. So we get to there's, as long as your company, I truly feel like as long as your company has a positive reputation, you have good reviews, you're doing good work, you're being empathetic to everyone that's, coming into your path, the work is going to come. And it's sometimes you get lulls. We're 12 weeks, 10 weeks into the year so far. I've had 3 weeks where I didn't make a single sale, which I'm fine with, because we've had such amazing clients already this year, where we're booking. We've got a handful of 6-figure projects that are, set to coming up that we've signed this year that make it okay that we didn't sell a deck in a week, because, we were able to sell these other high quality projects that make up for those sales. And I think some people see, oh, I didn't sell anything this week, I need to sell, and then they just kind of start grabbing whatever work comes their way, when as long as you have enough work in the bank that can get you by for a while, just find the right customer. Don't just settle on someone is going to be a problem from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. That's where that gut instinct has to come in a little bit too, huh?
Yeah. Patience is a virtue. It's always like the work is going to come. You just be patient for it and wait for the right customers. Don't just settle and find yourself in a position that possibly is going to cause a poor reputation to your company. And not that the business is doing a bad job, but there's just people that their goal is to do everything they can to make their project cheaper, whether that's, complain about XYZ for no reason or what, and the second you start, going back at them with, how everything's fine or whatever it may be, I feel like the second there you get that hard tension right there, it's immediately you're going to get a poor review on that project. And that's something that could cause way more detriment than if you just passed on that project after you saw the red flags.
Reputation is everything, huh? I tell you what, I talk to a lot of builders across the country, and I always ask them their numbers in the beginning. And a lot of times they don't really know what their sales close rate is, but I can tell you if it's really high, I can tell that they they have not realized that they've gotten to the position where they've earned the privilege of being selective, and I think that that's a good place to be at. That's when you've got something of real value, and you have to allow yourself to do that too. What do you think? How would you identify your ideal client profile? Like, what do you look for?
We don't discriminate in any way, shape, or form. But we're at a point where we are pushing to have higher project costs, meaning we want more in-depth projects. We want, our goal is to have our average deck creep close to the six-figure mark. And obviously that's going to take time but even from last year, through Q1, our average deck right now is 20,000 more than it was last year. And so there's always going to be, the bread and butter decks out there that are easy to sign and easy to put into contract that, might cost, $20,000-$25,000. And those are always good to have in the bank because, whether you run into delays on another project, whatever, you can grab that, go build it quick while you're waiting for whatever to resolve on another project. But, we look for people that are, when they call us, they're ready to talk about everything. And that includes budgets. And the second a customer openly starts talking about budgets, we know that they mean business and that they are ready to move forward with a project that's, going to fit their needs. And it's not going to be a back and forth about price or what have you. And so those are the customers we love. And not that we're trying to, upsell them for no reason. It's, we want to push into having, our average deck take us a couple weeks or 3 weeks to build versus, 2 decks, 2 days, 2 days, 2 days, and just the constant revolving of projects. Cause our production crews kind of get sick of that. They get sick of the constant job to job to job. They like to stay put and see their work transform into, a masterpiece versus a builder grade deck. And so, so yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And the second we get a customer that, starts asking for discounts and starts saying, well, this builder is at this price and all that kind of stuff. It's one of those things where we just, we don't walk away per se, but we stick to our guns. We explain why our prices are the way they are. And, we just moved into our new building. We've always just kind of lived we started out in just storage units. At our worst, we had 3 side-by-side storage units that we just kind of lived out of. And, then we upgraded into like a contractor studio, contractor condo, where we had, plenty of internal space, a small office, a bathroom. And, now we actually, the building we just moved into it's 5,000 square feet. We've got, we made it 4,000 square feet. We built a huge, mezzanine in the storage area. But then we've got 1,000 square foot showroom, and then we've got two pretty large offices that are going to house, all of our administrative staff. So there are no deck builders in our area that have dedicated project managers, that have dedicated salespeople, that have the dedicated office staff like we're going to have. And on top of it, there are none that have large scale showrooms. We actually had David Settlemeyer design our showroom and kind of make it a very unique space, so to say. And so we're slowly chipping away at it. It's hard when we've got nice days to have the guys inside and all that, but we have a large outdoor kitchen showcased in there. We've got a large outdoor fireplace showcase. We've got our structure cabana in there. We've got hideaway screens. We've got curved decking. I think we've probably got about 700 square feet of deck space in there. So we've got a large scale showroom that is absolutely showcasing what we're capable of doing. And what we've realized is it's hard to sell a customer out of a catalog when you're trying to upsell a deck, but when you can invite them into the showroom and they can play with the motorized, louvered pergola, or play with the lights, or play with the outdoor kitchen, the outdoor fireplace, all that kind of stuff. Once they put their hands on it, that's when they need to have it. And so I think it's going to be, once it's all done, it's going to be a huge factor that's going to, cause our average sales to even, grow even more, or our average deck cost to exceed even more. And that's just, it's something we need to set ourselves apart from our competition. And that's where we're at. And and now it's going to be nice to just have people that manage the office and manage the showroom appointments and all that. And I can just, in a sense, sit back and enjoy the progression that we see happen. So
yeah, and be a true visionary. So it's really, I think the hardest part is to really try to help the homeowner visualize the experience, right? And so with the showroom, they actually get to experience it, which is nice. So all expectations are met.
Yeah. And we've also made the switch to, we outsource all of our permit plans to a company out in North Carolina. And he actually hired on what started as a college apprentice, so to say, in graphic design, has turned into being one of his employees. But Nick actually started now offering 3D design packages that we have more than taken advantage of. So we're actually offering now 3D design packages, and you can only assume that, when a customer is spending, 6 figures on an outdoor living project, they want to see it before they sign the dotted line. So having that tool in our pocket has been tremendous in being able to exactly show the customer what their investment is going to do to their outdoor space. And it's been the reason why we've sold these projects, and these customers have come to us and said, no one offers this service, and the fact that you offer it is a benefit, and it shows us why why you're the right choice for us. So it's something that once our salesperson is up and running, it's something that even on our smaller projects, we're going to be pushing it. We're going to be pushing design packages that it doesn't lock them into using us, but they're putting an investment into us already. So it shows us that, they're serious about their project, and we can go a lot deeper into the design aspect of it, and even put options into it that maybe they didn't talk about. And once they see it, in the design, then they want it. So yeah, this year alone, I think this year alone, we've done 6 design packages. So they're slow, they're slow moving, but it's hard for a customer to, to drop $800 to $1,000 with you before they even, sign for a deck project. But it's something that, when you're looking at a project of that magnitude, that kind of money is almost, I don't want to say chump change, but it's a minuscule amount to make sure that the project's going to be exactly what they want.
Yeah, almost like insurance, right?
Yeah.
Insurance in your decision making. I want to go back to something that you were talking about, because what I was really hearing when you were talking about your ideal customer profile and the type of work that you want to get, I just kept thinking about how you're at a point where it's like you want to bring in the type of work that your team wants to do too, and I thought that was really beautiful. Like you want to give them things that help them stay creatively fulfilled. That's what I was hearing. And I thought that was really cool.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. It's I could have our guys could be approached by another deck builder any day of the week that offers them more money. And if that's all they're hungry for, then it's an easy switch for them. But if they're enjoying where they're at and they know they're taken care of and they know that the owner of the company cares about their feelings and their thoughts and actually takes input from them for guidance of the company's outlook, they feel heard, they feel wanted, and money is no longer the only thing. And so our biggest thing is retention. And it's if we're doing what our employees want and we're making them happy, money isn't all that they're hungry for. They found a place where they're comfortable being at, and they want to stay there, and it makes them care about being a part of the growth of the company at that point. And so that's where that's where our alignment issues happen with those other couple of employees, that they didn't care about the growth of the company. They didn't care where the company went. They didn't care what projects they were on. They were just there to do what they were told and make a paycheck. And that doesn't fit our vision. That doesn't fit the people we want around us every day. So, yeah, taking care of the crews, the guys and the girls is number one for me. And labor's a big investment, and training new people is an even bigger investment. So it's to spend the extra money to maintain your current employees is cheaper than hiring and training new ones. So
yeah, that's great. It's really about building something that's bigger. Like it's more than money. It's a passion, and I think that's really great. Bobby here said, missed some of the podcast, but what traits of a firefighter carry over to owner of a deck building company or vice versa?
As far as being a firefighter carrying over into owning a business, risk taking is kind of something that has to happen, being in the fire service. So that's risk taking, kind of having a mindset of being there for people. That's what I see. As far as owning a deck building company, transferring over to being a firefighter, owning a business, owning a successful business will make anyone a leader. And learning. Well, I guess even being a firefighter, it's when you see the people, the leaders that you work under, and you see the traits of the good ones and you see the traits of the bad ones, it's something that develops you it makes you want to be the leader that you want your leaders to be. And so part of that has kind of carried over into me being the leader in my company that if I was an employee, I'd want to see the traits of. And what's kind of crazy is my lieutenant right now used to be in the business world, and he was a boss, in the business world, in kind of the sales world, and just his traits. He kind of talks about, he's been in the fire service now and out of that service realm of things for 12 years. He still has old employees call him for advice. People that haven't worked for him for over 12 years, he still hears from because they need advice. And that's a huge testament to the leader he was there, that he made such an impression on those people that even 12 years later, when they run into a problem, they seek his advice. And I will speak positives of my lieutenant all day long. I will back him from A to Z. And so even just seeing and being under him and learning his leadership styles, I think has helped me develop into the leader that I am, and kind of vice versa when I'm able to develop myself into a leader within my business and learn all the traits that I need to, and to be successful. Part of that's going to carry back over, when I want to take the next step into management within the fire service, that I've got the firefighting experience. I've got the, all of that stuff. But when it comes to being a leader, I've already got the entry level of that to guide myself into being an asset on that side and on this side. So even though they're two completely different things, they cross over quite a bit.
That was amazing. Phenomenal. Bobby, thank you so much for asking that question. I was very intrigued by your response. That was really cool. I feel like I have like 20 more questions I want to ask you, but we're at time here. I do want to ask 2 more questions. The first is, you did really talk about, first of all, you've done such a great job of painting the journey that you've been on. And it sounds like like I always say, keep moving forward. And it sounds like you did exactly that. And you're at such a great place. I'd like to know what words of wisdom would you give other deck builders that are just resistant to, in either delegating, because I think it takes a combination of delegation and then investing, into your business. And you started off by, investing into marketing and then some coaching and now your team. So you want to talk about that a little bit more and give some words of wisdom?
Don't be afraid. It's, that's another huge aspect of being a leader is having the ability to delegate important tasks. Not everything needs to be controlled by one person. And when there's more minds involved, yes, sometimes it can cause tension, but most of the time it's going to cause positive results. And it's something I tell every new person that starts with our company, is, especially if they come, from a background of building decks, is we build decks a specific way. That does not mean that your input doesn't matter. If you come in and you have a better idea, or if you think you have a better idea, tell us, let us know. And if we see it and know, and we're like, dude, yeah, this is way better, we're going to implement it. In no way, shape, or form is our mindset stuck in, this is our way, it has to be done this way. You always have to be open for input from other people, because you're not perfect. You don't know everything. That falls in line with, you're going to hire someone that is better at running a portion of your business than you are. And it took me years to realize that. And even in my initial conversations with Chris, when him and I were chatting, and he's like, what do you want to give up first? And we talked about it, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be the salesperson forever. Like, I don't want to give up sales. Like, and fast forward, I think my initial conversations with him were, probably November, December. So fast forward 3 months, I'm sending out a job offer for a salesman tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
or a debt consultant tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So, there are people that are going to do your job better than you, and they're going to help your company grow, and they are worth the investment. And, if you hire a salesperson and they want to make 140 grand a year and they want to sell you $2 million worth of decks, sweet. We just made a lot of money. And I want to, hire a second salesperson. They'll sell another $2 million worth of decks. Like, your company just doubled in size, and the investment is minuscule of what your revenue is. So it's people are going to make your life easier. They're going to make your company better. And it's all about vetting the right person and doing your due diligence in the hiring process to make sure you're choosing the right person. And I did find out AI is very good at helping you with that. So
Okay.
whether that's what I literally did to help develop some of the interview questions is I wrote into AI. I said, this is what we're hiring for. This is the job description. This is the qualities and the traits we want each person to have. Write me 10 questions. And it wrote out 10 amazing questions that I could have never thought of in a million years.
Mm-hmm.
So, the tech side of things is tremendous at helping businesses develop, and yeah, that's every bit of everything I would say is open your eyes, open your mind, trust what other people are doing. If other successful people are doing it, it works. It's not just to make my life easier. It's to grow your company. So, yeah, that's what I got.
That's really good. Yeah, I think it's almost like relieving to think of, well, I want to hire somebody that is better than me, like I want people that are smarter than me on my team, it's a good mindset. So, well, you kind of answered both of my questions at the same time, but do you want to leave the audience with any other final words of wisdom?
Oh man, it's not what I'm good at. I think I kind of said it.
Mm-hmm.
Trust the process. Trust that things are better on the other side, and that the more great people you bring into your company, the better your company is going to thrive. And you can't wear every hat forever. If you want to grow, you can't wear every hat. And I know there's great deck builders or deck building companies out there that the owners don't want to relinquish X portion of their business, which is totally fine. If you want to focus on that, great. Mm-hmm. It's going to work, and you can let the other people focus on the other portions of it. But it's the whole idea of running a business is to be successful, and everyone that wants to start a business, I don't think they want to start a business so that they work more than they ever did in their life before. And that's gonna be that way in the beginning. But there's light at the end of the tunnel, and as long as you have the right mindset to keep the growth happening, and you follow the right steps, it's going to happen. And yeah, hopefully there's no deck builders around me that are listening, because we don't want more competition.
Well, you're paving the way, you know what I mean? And there's something beautiful about that. People get worried about competition, but it's like, if they start doing, like, replicating what you're doing, then you know that you're doing well.
What's funny is we had back in, what was it, back in February or January, the AZEC Contractor Summit out in Arizona. And when we got on the bus in Arizona after leaving the airport, I saw one local guy, and we're everyone around here, we're all cordial, we're all friends. It's, we're not talking shit about each other to customers to try and win a job. But I saw one guy, and then a couple minutes later, I saw another guy. A couple minutes later, I saw another guy, and there was the top 5 deck building companies in the Milwaukee area. We were all in the same plane. None of us knew it, and we were all on the same bus then. And like I said, we're all friends. We're all cordial, and so we spent the whole week in Arizona just hanging out with each other and having a good time. And it's competition isn't about talking shit about the other company. It's there's definitely a point in a sales pitch where you have to tell a customer why you're better than the other customer than the other company. But I have found that talking shit about a company to a customer to try and win a contract is not the right route to go. So, it becomes a friendly competition, especially if that, you're bidding out a job that the next guy is. You guys can kind of chat about it and see who's going to win and whatever, but just make it a fun game. But yeah.
Awesome. Chris says, we got a couple things here. Collaboration happens at the top, competition happens at the bottom. Perfect. He's so full of juicy nuggets. And then Peak Framing said, how did you get your first project?
Oh.
Taking you back.
I honestly, I know what our first deck was. It was a redeck. We used Trex, barf. And I think it was word of mouth. I really do. It was like 5 blocks from my house. And they had, it was word of mouth in a way. It was my wife's best friend's husband's parents lived across the street from this person, and they knew about my company. And then, so, in a cul-de-sac, everyone talks and, like, oh, we're looking to have our deck, and so we came in, that's when it was just me, obviously. And my brother-in-law, he was still in college, so he was helping me out during the summers as, kind of a labor position. And I want to look back at this quick. I'm pretty sure in total I made like $1,000 total on that deck. Like it was there was no profit to it at all. If in today's world, I don't even have it in my phone. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we sold that deck in total for like $8,000. Like, it was, looking back, I'm like, how did that even happen? But no, it was cool, and that was like the first legit deck that we did, where we're using not, non-wood deck, I should say. We use Trex decking, Trex railing. In the time of it, I'm like, this stuff is so cool. Like, it's so awesome. And the project turned out amazing. But looking back, it's crazy to see what growth has happened since then, and just how far even our just craftsmanship has come along. The details that we do on decks that none of our competitors are even doing, that really, I can look at a deck, anyone that, even what any of my employees that maybe haven't been with us that long, they can look at a deck and they know that we built it just by some of the finished details on it. So seeing the progression has been pretty humbling. But yeah.
Well, I'll say, I think not, I think. I was going to say, I think you need to be on the podcast in a year from today because everyone wants to see how far you will have been after this moment. And Tyler, you're going to do amazing things, man. You got a great crew, good support, good vision. I mean, seriously, we got to have you back in a year and you got to tell everybody how everything's changed.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us, everyone. Love all the questions. Make sure that you check out hometownbuildersunlimited.com to see some of Tyler's beautiful work. And if you're a deck builder tuning in and wondering how to get the most out of quality leads to keep your crews busy, head over to deckbuildermarketers.com and book a free strategy session with me. And I'll help you figure out how, where you're leaving money on the table and what marketing moves you need to make next. And if you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to like and subscribe and make sure to check out our other episodes so you don't miss out on any tips. So until next time, as always, keep moving forward, just like Tyler did.
Sweet. Thanks for having us, April.
Of course.